Hello, and welcome to the Sports Coin. I'm Kushagr, and I have today Anuraag and Prathamesh with me for this IPL third quarterly review for us. As we record here, as we sit here today, we just witnessed the 46th match of this edition of the IPL just take shape, and you know what? Once that Punjab train has started rolling, it has flattened every other opposition in its wake.
Yep.
Chris Henry, Gale, when the man was absolutely a powerhouse today. I mean, it's just amazing the presence and the personality and the persona that man exudes, and of course a fantastic innings by Mandeep Singh as well in a chase which could have been tricky. And on that note, I'll come to Anurag first. Anurag, we saw a match in which essentially, Kolkata Knight Riders had three innings within a first innings, right? So
Yeah.
they started with a collapse. Then
There was a good partnership.
Morgan
Yeah.
and Shubman Gill decided that the pitch wasn't what the pitch was. They race over to a 91 for three, right? 91
Yeah.
for
Exactly.
three
Yeah.
in 9.2, 9.3 overs. Then Morgan gets out. Suddenly they are like
It's back
114
to
for
normal.
7,
Yeah.
114 for 7. And,
Lockie Ferguson rescues them.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lockie Ferguson gave them some runs, and, they managed to reach 149 for 9. But all in all, I don't think on a Sharjah pitch that was a challenging total. So I guess we can start with KKR right now at first, and then we can move on to Kings 11.
Yeah. Again, uh, I really don't understand what is the situation with Shubman Gill. Again, once again, this is the exact thing that I said last time. He looks a little restricted. Uh, he looks manually restricted by someone. Is it
Yeah,
true? Is it,
because yes,
yeah,
just
again?
sorry
Yeah.
to cut you short. Because we've seen Shubman Gill in a couple of editions now. We've seen him in the
Yeah.
Under 19 World Cup and during the Ranji matches for Punjab as well. He's a free flowing player, and at this point, it's always doesn't it seem like he's always checking his drive, checking his strokes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's as if he wants to get a 50 plus average in this IPL or something.
Yeah, it's exactly what David Warner has been doing this season. These are cricketers who love to take on the bowler straight away, get those runs quickly. These are that sort of players, and you have to let those cricketers play like that. I see one thing that I can potentially like um, the hypothesis that I can draw, which potentially makes sense, is Owen Morgan slash Dinesh Karthik, whoever that might be, has gone to Shubman Gill and asked him to stick for as long as you can because you are an important stay. You are, but if you look at the top five, six batsmen, technically you are the most astute batsman, capable of potentially doing everything that a batsman should be doing. So beside, if we take your name aside, there is not anyone who can do that what you can do. So maybe, but it's still too much for a youngster of his age. I think that is really hampering what he really is, and that for me is a concern. I hope. I don't know if that will be addressed or not. Let's see what happens. But KKR right now, the position that they find themselves in is still not very precarious. I think with two games to go, they need two wins to completely assure. I think it is still in their hands, and KKR have
Yeah,
nothing to cry about as it stands yet. And Kings 11 Punjab, with this particular win, are in that position again, as compared to in a similar position to KKR, in a better position, in fact. And they
yeah.
have things in their hands, and there is nothing more beautiful than having things in your own hands. And from now, after the first quadrant when Kings 11 Punjab were doing so bad, I went on to say, see, they have the squad, they have the players. It's just about the time all of them, at least three or four of them, click together, and
Yeah,
it seemed like that puzzle, that incomplete puzzle, which was there of harmony puzzle. I think Chris Gale comes in, fits in the center, and he completely, I think he changes the morale. This guy is. I wonder if he can ever go irrelevant out of cricket, man. Like, people not even were expecting him to do anything this season. He comes and
yeah.
changes the morale straight away. What a cricketer! Universe boss for a reason.
Yeah, Chris Gale, Prathamesh follows the parallels of Zlatan. He got
Seriously,
COVID and
Yeah.
said, "What is COVID, really?" And
that reply to
and
Romelu Lukaku is god
yeah,
level. That is
yeah,
absolutely
that's
brutal.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the way he just murdered the bowlers today as well.
Yeah,
It's just the sheer. It's
joy.
awe-inspiring to watch him at what grand old age of 40.
Yeah,
No,
41.
41. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
unreal, Prathamesh. I mean,
41.
how does one explain this? Because now we see. I know we've we're probably going to gloss over KKR a little here. And with
Yeah,
all due respect to all you Kolkata fans, we still think Kolkata, just like Punjab, have it all
their
in
hands.
their
Yeah,
hands.
exactly. Yeah,
And same as with
Yeah.
Punjab, Prathamesh. But this is now their fifth win on the road. They've won all different types of matches. They won close matches, nail biters versus
Yeah.
Mumbai.
high
They
scorers and low scorers.
yeah, low scorers in the last match against
Yeah.
SRH.
Yeah,
They've chased down scores without losing wickets, like what they did tonight, and they've thrashed teams as well. So, see, do you think like a perfect synergy sort of a thing, brewing in the Kings 11 camp? Because they are
Like,
the form team, without
yeah.
doubt. They are the form team.
a little late, but I think
Definitely.
perhaps just on border at time.
Exactly. I think they're doing what Mumbai did back in 2013 when they lost
14.
the first
Yeah.
first six games and
They
then
would
came
hope. They would
to
hope it
India
the
and
end result in
I
the
think
same.
that
yeah,
I think the season that you're referring to is 2015.
2015. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, 2015. So yeah, Mumbai did that in 2015, and probably the Kings 11 moving on the same line. I think what changed back then and what has changed even now for Punjab is probably, I mean, yeah, Chris Gayle has come in and scored a lot of runs, but along with those runs, I guess he's brought a little positivity, which he brings just not through his batting but through the way he carries himself in the team. And I think that whole team management has a clarity of thought what to do now. And with Gale, he's just a fantastic player. I think what helps him is, he now knows his game is restricted in certain ways against certain style of bowlers. So he's ready enough to take his time, and when he gets the ball, you usually see it out of the stadium. So he's been doing that really well, and I think that essentially the clarity of thought has got into that whole Punjab team, and they have really started clicking on really well. The other day when they beat Mumbai in two super overs, I guess, with a target of what 5 or 6 runs to chase Mumbai Indians, couldn't.
Yeah.
Shami bowled so well in the super over, and again when Mumbai Indians batted again, they did really well, chased the small super over target as well. Against Sunrisers, 17 for 7. Who would have saw that coming in the last stage of the game?
That was a done
Yeah,
match.
we
Yeah.
were watching that game together, weren't we, Kushagra? And
Yeah, it's
it was
sort of
yeah,
unbelievable.
unbelievable game. So you could see why Punjab are at the form team right now, because they're able to pull off these results. The kind of results which you probably wouldn't even give them a chance at the start of the season. And I think what really has essentially worked well with this Punjab team now is like these players who probably didn't play so many games together as a unit before have now started understanding each other's strengths, each other's weaknesses, and they have started gelling in that way now, and they're understanding what to do. I think Mandeep has been a huge positive. I don't know how when Mayank Agarwal comes in, you're going to drop Mandeep. How can you even think about dropping Mayank Agarwal? If both of them have to open the batting, where the hell would you put KL Rahul? So all those are really
And then
good
you've got
questions
Chris
to have.
Gale, whom you would not want to
And
move from number
then you
three.
have Cruz Gale. Exactly. So they have some really good issues right now.
Which
And
is
with
good to have.
KKR,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, it's good to have good issues. So with KKR, I feel that somewhere down the line, the middle order doesn't contribute the way they should, and
Okay.
really led them to be in this situation right now. Again, I feel they desperately miss the inform Andre Russell, and no matter how much they try, it's not going to be the same without him. They definitely miss the Sunil Narayan with that previous bowling action, because this one is not working much either. So I think they have these couple of issues, and coming into the business end of the tournament, whether the likes of as you were talking before with Shubman Gill, who looks a little restricted. Nitish Rana has tried opening the batting. He did really well the other day. So whether they still know which is their right batting order, whether they still know which is their right playing 11, you still do not know at this point of time. And I think that is something that just might not suit them at the final end of the tournament. But they still have the fate in their own hands. That's the best thing. So all fingers crossed for them.
All right. So, as far as these two teams are concerned, gentlemen, where would you place them in our four quadrants? And just for our viewers, once again, I'll remind you guys of the four quadrants that we in our own infinite wisdom have tried to, bunch these eight teams into. So of course, the first quadrant being the two top sure shot qualifiers that we feel. And as of now, me, Anurag, and Prathamesh were pretty gung ho about two teams, and we were just discussing some doubts. So there could be some interesting selections here. So as you can see on the screen, we have the top quadrant, which has the top two qualifying teams according to us. Then there could be the two others that are there, as in the third and fourth place teams. Now, what is interesting here, Prathamesh and Anurag, is we have a cluster of teams which are on 14 points. So it is Mumbai, Delhi, and RCB in that order on the basis of the net run rate that are there in the first, second, third position. All have played 11 matches with 14 points each. Then you have two teams on 12 points, which is Kings 11 and now KKR. They've swapped places. Kings 11 started from fifth and have gotten fourth today. KKR have dropped a position. And then the bottom two, sort of, you can count them out. CSK and RR. Both of
Yeah,
them have 8 points each. So RR have a match in hand on CSK. As in they have three matches remaining, but it's highly unlikely that even if they do that, if they do get to even 14 points, which they might, but that if they'll qualify, because there are teams that are surely going to cross the 14-point mark.
absolutely.
The one team missing in that list is SRH, which is again, another really
Yeah,
mind-numbing loss to
yeah.
Kings 11, and sort of unforgivable batting performances from the team. Uh, so where would you put KKR and Kings 11 to begin with? Then we can move on to the other teams. We'll start with Anurag first, and then go on to Prathamesh.
For me, I think as it stands, I would just about slip Kolkata and Kings 11 Punjab, both of the, no, I wouldn't say both of them, but I think I think I have a feeling RCB are still gonna be are under a little bit of trouble because of the fixtures that they've got. We'll get to that later on. We'll get to
Yeah.
that later on, but I think that potentially could impact this as well. So I'm a little. I think RCB will just about make it alongside Kings 11 Punjab, so that puts them in the
So
second
those are
quadrant.
the okay.
And I think just about
SRH and KKR in the third quadrant, and
yeah,
CSKR
I
are
think
bottom
KKR
two.
for now. KKR, I think I'll put them in the third quadrant. Yeah.
All right, Prathamesh.
Uh, I've been watching this Punjab team for the last, and what has, as I said, impressed me was the clarity of thought and the way they've been putting in the performances. Uh, I would go out on a limb and say I probably see them finishing in the first quadrant, just on the basis of some,
Kings
yeah,
11.
Kings 11 Punjab, just on the basis of the form that they are on. They can easily win the next two games and finish on 16 points.
Yeah, they
and
can.
and
They
and
can.
and the way
That
it
is true.
looks and the way it looks for like both MI, RCB, and also for Delhi, it does look a possibility they are going to play these teams who are going to be in that fight for
Yeah,
the fourth
it looks
place.
like
Yeah,
in those three teams, at least two of them will not finish on a high note going into the
exactly. It
playoffs.
it looks that way. I personally feel that when you are in this brilliant run of form which they are right now, and they don't seem to be like the team who are going to let that go away right at any point soon.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I,
What
from
a
from a
so
story would that
mentally
be?
from a mentally frail team, they're looking like a reborn unit. Kings
yeah.
11.
Absolutely.
I
So
know, we're all full of praise for Kings 11, but guys, cut them some slack. They won 5 matches in a row. How
yeah.
often does that happen in any IPL, let alone
Yeah.
one?
The last
This
time there
I,
was a team in 2014, they were completely out of picture in the first 6 7 games, and they won 8 games on the trot to go and lift the title. That was
KKR,
Kolkata Knight Riders
Yeah, that
under
was
the
KKR.
inspiring leadership of
Gautam
Gautam Gambhir.
Gambhir.
Yeah.
But again, let's see if
Another
that.
opener, you never
Yeah.
know. There are
Yeah.
parallels.
There are parallels definitely. And with
Yeah.
KKR, third quadrant, I really don't see them qualifying right now because, as I said, the middle order is a big
The
issue for
issues are
them.
too much. Yeah.
I think the playing 11, they sometimes don't know whom to play at which position. It is really troubling, for all the brains that
For
they
a
have in that
franchise playing
entire.
its 12th,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, sort of for a franchise, Prathamesh playing its 12th match now. Don't you think that's just awful by the management? That they're
And
still looking for combination.
yeah, and that too, considering that they have the brains of the likes of Dinesh Karthik and Owen Morgan in the team, I just don't understand how this is happening. This is probably pure misunderstanding in the way things have gone on the auction table, along with the way
Uh, uh,
players have played in the
if I could
squad
chip
as
in,
well.
I think
Yeah,
that one thing, the
yeah,
auction table thing, one thing, plus the players that you've trusted for certain positions not performing to the extent that you've
yeah,
actually expected. So I
exactly.
think if it was a Dhoni, that is one thing I really like about Dhoni. He trusts, if he thinks a particular player is fit for that position, he'll give him a good go. I think that is where KKR have not been really good enough. I think
Yeah,
they've been tinkering a bit too much. They've given some players a bit too much leeway, and I think they've been tinkering with Nitish Rana and Rahul Tripathi. I think they've been really really harsh on
I
him.
feel sorry for both of them, because
Yeah,
it's as if they wake up they wake up on the morning, someone rolls a dice, and then that's their number.
yeah,
Like, I mean,
exactly.
it's
I think
ridiculous, The Rahul Tripathi, just have a look at this example. There have been times when he's faced the first ball of the innings, and then there have been times he's come down at number 7. Now, either he's a good opener, or he's a good hitter, or he's a good singles guy, good consolidation guy in the middle. He can't be all three.
yeah, exactly. See, Rahul Tripathi, not to forget, in his debut season 2017 under Steve Smith, he was the highest getter for, I think, the second highest run getter or highest run getter for Punjab, for Pune.
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 Yeah,
He
Yeah.
drove them all the way. I think the moment his team changed, I think that's where he, it's like someone pushed him out of the picture. No, I think we are looking for better fairy tales. It's not your time.
yeah,
People have like pushed him aside. I really feel bad for the guy, because in the few opportunities that you got, you look at him, he's actually done well. He's had an impact in the few opportunities that he's got.
Even today, he comes out, plays a very good shot, hits a
Yeah,
six. Gets a good ball to get out. I mean,
it's such a nice
Shami's
talent.
on
Yeah,
fire. Shami's on
Shami is
fire.
absolutely brutal.
So
yeah.
Shami
yeah,
is brutal right now.
yeah. Okay. We'll
Yeah.
move on. This is the complaint we had last time. We keep getting stuck on teams.
Yeah, Kushagra,
Moving
I
on.
think you have not mentioned your prediction on this.
Ah, uh, I wouldn't go with Kings 11 in the first quadrant. I'd keep them in the second quadrant. KKR, I think.
That is bare minimum, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's. I think Kings
they've done
11,
enough to do that. Yeah,
Kings 11 probably win both their remaining matches. But I
yeah,
still think, uh, out of these three teams at the top, two of them will get 16 or above, right? So I
yeah.
think with the net run rate Kings 11 have, I don't think they'll be able to overhaul the top two teams. That's the only thing for me. As far as KKR is concerned, it's a very difficult call. We have to see who are they against, who are they up against, because it's an RCB team, or it's a Delhi team, or it's a Mumbai team, or it's a Kings 11 team for that matter.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
just a small confirmation. I think uh, uh, I've just checked the matches for Mumbai, Delhi, and RCB. They sort of like play against each other around about.
yes,
Delhi
so
play Mumbai, so I think
yes,
one of them. I think at least two of them will get to
will
16.
qualify.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
100%
that's a good
sure two
point.
of
The
them
net
will
run rate will
qualify.
come to picture. Yeah,
Yes, and in that sense, I think KKR will get, will sort of bite the dust there as well, because all the other teams have a fairly better run rate, net run rate than them.
yeah,
And even if they get to 14 or 16 points, even if it's a tie, head-to-head tie with, let's say, Punjab or an RCB, I don't see the top four changing now. I think
yeah,
KKR finish fifth or sixth in the third quadrant, and I think Kings 11 will be sitting pretty in third or fourth. So yeah, coming on. We move on. We move on to the other two teams that are going to face these two teams that we first discussed. That's CSK and RR. And we start with Prathamesh first here. Prathamesh, we saw a stunning innings from Ben Stokes.
yeah,
An absolutely stunning century yesterday. But as they say in Hindi, देर आए दुरुस्त आए, पर यहाँ पे दुरुस्त नहीं रहा, मतलब थोड़ा फुस हो गया मामला, क्योंकि
yeah.
काफी काफी देर, बहुत ज्यादा देर हो गई, ट्रेन छूट गई ऐसा लगा ना, मतलब
yeah.
जब भी मेट
Yeah,
सीन्स सॉर्ट ऑफ करीना कपूर सीन,
You,
ट्रेन
you
छूट ही
know,
जाती
it's
है हर बारी.
this
So
guy. I think Kings 11 Punjab caught the train exactly on border like
एग्जैक्टली,
Karina
yeah,
या
Kapoor. But yeah,
राजस्थान वाले चढ़ रहे थे, बट लात मार के गिरा दिया अभी इनको, ऐसा लगा ना,
yeah,
मुंबई लोकल में फेल्ड अटेम्प्ट टू गेट इन
yeah,
फ्रॉम
yeah,
में.
yeah,
So, like incredible match, incredible chase by Rajasthan Royals against Mumbai. I mean, full marks to Sanju Samson, and of course, majorly to Ben Stokes. Like amazing, incredible knock yesterday. But in spite of all these heroics, they still find themselves on 8 points, and clearly shows that they've not had a good tournament, and the
Aren't,
batsmen have
aren't
under.
they on 10? Aren't they on 10? I guess Rajasthan are on 10.
Let me just confirm for you. I think as far as I
No,
checked, they
yes, they
were.
are on 10.
They
Yeah,
are on 10,
they
yeah.
are on 10.
Okay, okay. My apologies there. 210 points. Still with a net run rate of minus 5.05.
Yeah.
So minus points 505.
That level
Sorry.
net run rate towards the end of the tournament is almost
It's very
impossible to
bad,
recover.
yeah.
Yeah.
8 days. I'm seeing the table. It is the second worst in the league.
Yeah.
Only CSK with a minus 0.602
Yeah.
are worse off than Ara. So again, that's another another thing that we have to take into criteria here. How do you think the Rajasthan Royals are shaping? They have a few positives to take into the next season, but as far as this season is concerned, do you think they'll have any say in the final four combinations, or it'll be a free hit for the other two teams, and as well as them?
Yeah, I think they will have a fair enough say. And I think talking about catching a late train, they definitely made sure that I slept late last night because of that. It was a difficult one for me to swallow personally. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think they did definitely miss their train. It's way too late in the tournament to actually pick up form like this. But all credit to Stokes and Samson yesterday. They were the guy who I think for the first time in the tournament, Mumbai's bowling looked a little clueless. So I think all credit to Stokes there for the way he played and the way he allowed Samson to play. So on that sense, they do seem really impressive. Coming to whether they will have a say in a tournament, yes, they will definitely because they play both Punjab and KKR. So I guess if they are not the party makers, they might. So and considering they play KKR, they play I think Punjab they play first and then they play KKR.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think they have a good chance to spoil Punjab's party and stop their train, and catch a new one themselves.
Mhm.
So that looks pretty, and that looks pretty realistic for them because they have that refound Ben Stokes now. They have Sanju Samson who had a good game last time out. They have Steve Smith who still looks a little tricky, but on his day he can still do wonderful things with the bat. However, unaesthetically you might feel Kushagra, but he still can do those wonderful things. Jofra Archer is an absolute beast, man. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. They
how does
have
that man
they
keep
have the
keep
four.
performing that way?
Yeah, they're the four best foreign players in
Yeah.
my opinion. As a
How does he
selection of
keep
four.
performing? It's
Yeah.
such high intensity every game. Yeah. Yeah, probably, definitely, probably one in the contention, and three of them are English, and probably all three of them were really important for the World Cup win as well. So that shows a lot the kind of players they actually have. Um, and it's shocking that they are in this situation, but they are
All four of them are World Cup winners, by the
where
way.
they
Yeah.
are right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, all four of them. So yeah, I think they can definitely spoil other parties if they can't make one of their own. And coming to the other team, CSK, which we are going to discuss here, they are officially out of the playoff race, and think we saw them probably put that weight out of their shoulder. They knew probably when they played RCB last time that they were going to be out of the race anyway, and I think we saw a good performance with bat and with ball by CSK. It was good to see Ruturaj Gaikwad get some runs, after all the stick that he got for not playing well, and deservedly so because he wasn't playing well. But it was good to see that he showed a lot of in an important game for them in a way because it's the South Indian derby, and it matters a lot in that part of the world. So I think it was important for them in that sense, and I think with CSK we're pretty much seeing the decline of the entire bunch of players. So you might not really get the best out of them. They play KKR next, and that is where I think KKR can slightly hope that they might be able to win. And if Rajasthan were to spoil the party of Punjab again, that affects a lot. So in a way, I think CSK. So I don't feel they have a really good chance of winning those two games because both those teams really want to win, whom they're going to play next. But with Rajasthan, they can definitely be party spoilers.
All right. And Anurag, your opinion on these two teams, because it's maybe a little tough on Rajasthan, but I think we won't be wrong in
Taking them
ruling
out of
them
the
out.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, ruling them out of the running. And as far as Chennai is concerned, as Prathamesh said, I'd probably echo something that I heard, Pomi Mbangwa and Simon Dool talking about. I think this is the last few matches you see these group of players play. A lot of these players will not be back in the IPL in these colors, and I think Watson has essentially said that this is last tournament. There are question marks over the effectiveness of Faf du Plessis. He's been the lone warrior, but still, even at that level, I guess they might get retained. But the likes of Imran Tahir, MS Dhoni, we don't know what future holds for these guys. So Dwayne Bravo as well, with his injury issues and everything else, whether they've already lost probably Harbhajan and Raina. So in that sense, it's a changing of the guard. An era has come to an end for the CSK fans and for the CSK franchise as well. So, how do you see these two teams going? And do you think Rajasthan could, as Prithvi said, could be some party spoilers or party poopers for Punjab or Kolkata?
I'll start with CSK because I don't think there's much to speak about them. They're officially out of contention, and whatever there's need to be talked about them. I think both of you have covered quite abundantly. So I think, yeah, pretty much the point that you've said. If you can't make a cake for yourself, go poop in another party. It's a bit like that, and I would honestly say I think CSK have a better chance of being a party spoiler because there is absolutely no pressure on them. They just can go and play cricket the whatever the way they want right now. So this is where you really have to be wary of teams like these. I think Rajasthan will be I think there'll be a
Yeah,
little more. They still have to win. If they win their games, there is still a chance that there's
slight
still not.
mathematical
Yeah,
chance. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
slight
it's
mathematical
not even a slight mathematical
chance.
chance. It's a decent mathematical chance. I wouldn't say great, but it's not very slight as well. It's a
But
decent
Anurag,
mathematical
don't
chance
you
that they
feel?
could. Yeah.
Anurag, don't you feel though that Rajasthan still have players who have a lot to prove? I don't think CSK has a lot of players apart from Sam Curran or maybe the couple of youngsters who would have a lot to prove actually, and that motivation to really do wonders in the next two games.
See, exactly. This is where we can't really, draw a baseline of facts. It's all opinions again. Uh, and both of them are pretty much bang on. CSK could be party spoilers because there is no pressure. RR can be party spoilers because there is a point to prove and potentially a place to play fight for. And yeah, if you say they're potentially fighting for a place and then again to say them as party poopers, I think it's sort of conflicting. But yeah, I think people who are watching, they would very clearly understand our position, because I think that is where most fans are right now. They really don't. I think Rajasthan's position is incredibly confusing right now, but most probably it's towards the downside. There's nothing positive to their side as it stands. But yeah, as you've rightly mentioned, I think they've got the train a bit too late, and I don't think they'll be able to make anything significant on time. I think it's, if you want to reach Churchgate by 11 o'clock, you ensure you catch the Andheri train at least 30 minutes before. At least 30 minutes before. It's just a Mumbaikar example, or having, you know, done that traveling for 1 month, one very, very, very difficult month, for which I didn't
long
receive.
months.
Yeah, I'll not mention the company's name, which I didn't receive any stipend. So yeah, and we've already discussed about
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah.
So again, getting back to it, I think, yeah, RR a bit too late. But yeah, Ben Stokes, what a knock! That is what this player was. Is capable of that, and I think if you look at why Kings 11 Punjab are persisting with Glenn Maxwell, because they know he's a good player. I really don't buy the argument that he's a fluke cricketer. He's not. I think temperamentally is really a strong. I still feel he's
It's it's
decent.
it's it's it's,
He's
it's,
just
a,
a
it's
pitch.
a
I think
bloody joke. How can you say he's a fluky player? I mean, anyone.
exactly. There are plenty
How
of
the
people who say that,
have
and
have
it keeps.
shame, have respect for the guy. Come
I know,
on,
right? I just before this tournament and started,
he
he
scored
scored a
an
superb
incredible
100.
century
I
against
think
England.
I was so happy for him, and he's had some mental issues and he's come out openly and accepted it, and he's had a few breaks, and he still came out. He's doing well, and when he does well, that game, the game is done. The game is literally done if if he does well. He still has that potential, and I would want Kings 11 Punjab to persist with him till the end, because there
Yeah,
will
yeah,
come a
yeah, yeah.
time I would be incredibly, because I think today he picked up a wicket of the first ball, Nitish Rana,
Yes, yes.
in the very first over. See, he's a cricketer who can contribute in more than one way. And had he scored that six, that missed by what a hair's length or whatever. Oh my god! I think
It was
that
against
could have been
K.
his moment. That could have been his
Wasn't it
moment.
against KKR only?
Who was the bowler?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Narayan, the bowler. Yeah, it
It
was
was
against
Sunil
KKR.
Narayan.
Funnily, yeah,
It was against
funnily, it
KKR
was him.
only.
It was him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, time has flown by. I think
Yeah,
had that gone for us, I really, really want that guy to flourish well and perhaps finish well. I But again, I think we've drifted off the topic. Yeah, we've drifted off the topic.
I really loved
Rajasthan.
what you both guys were discussing. I really loved what you
He,
guys were discussing. But unfortunately, I'm not able to get which player because my net connection broke down.
It's that Australian cricketer named Glenn Maxwell,
Glenn Maxwell.
who
And
Oh,
cost 10.
again, Anurag.
this was like Chris Kamara.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
Anurag, we were back to discussing Kings 11 here, but
yeah.
let's move on
Rajasthan.
from
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Rajasthan.
Rajasthan
I
and
think.
CSK.
Yeah. Again,
So
I think
again,
I honestly I would Rajasthan and CSK, for me as it stands. It might seem a little biased or something, but I think I would still place them in the last quadrant, both of them.
yeah. And what about you, Prathamesh?
As I said, I feel Rajasthan will finish third quadrant. I think they are mathematically in that quadrant anyway right now, and I
Yeah.
feel they have it in them to at least win one of the two games and spoil one party at least. CSK, as much as it pains me and as much as it would pain Anurag also in that yellow t-shirt sitting there, uh, definitely finishing eighth, and that's really sad because that's not the way it was supposed to end. It wasn't the Tollywood ending that they would have given anyway. So
You never know. You never
I
know.
don't really feel. Yeah,
Yep.
Sometimes you have sequels and then you have a three-pack movie or a four-pack movie. So you never know. These guys might come back for another try. But I would hope that CSK
yeah,
management takes a long, hard look at itself and its team composition now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
As for me, I firmly place these guys in the bottom quadrant. I think the seventh and eighth for me. I think SRH should go above RR by the end of the tournament.
I think
And
just the net run rate factor. I think it's going to come
yeah,
down hard on
yeah,
Rajasthan.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think RR and CSK might as well lose both their last games. I think it will happen that way because Kings 11 KK are really going for it. So it would be unlikely for me, from my understanding. We move on to another pair of the top two teams, the two teams that have been at the top consistently from day one, if I'm not wrong. When Kings 11 threw away that inexplicable match against Delhi. That is when
Yeah.
Delhi got up, and I know CSK beat Mumbai in their first match, but from the very second match, Mumbai have taken hold of this tournament, and up until the last match, Anurag, it didn't seem like there were any real chinks in the armor.
Yeah,
Now with the
there does seem like one.
rumors,
Yeah,
yeah, with the rumors of Rohit probably being out for the tournament, and there's still unsubstantiated rumors in the sense that we do not have any official confirmation there. But we're probably going to see a Virgil van Dijk level meltdown, I guess. In the in our own IPL, we have a separate meltdown. I guess there'll be players removing jerseys, giving him all kinds of well wishes. But yeah, as an India fan, I am genuinely concerned
very
because
much. Yeah,
if he's out for the tests and if he's out for the white ball series in Australia, I think that puts a serious, serious dent in our chances to win. Regardless of who replaces him, if KL Rahul, is able to pick up the slack or something, I think the persona approach, Sharma, I guess he deserves his own video from us in that regard, at least. Yeah. So looking at that, and also looking at the problems that Delhi have gone through, because we've seen from a batting attack wherein everyone was chipping in. Now they have a batting attack wherein no one is scoring, and how can the entire team get into form and the entire team get out of form? That is something preposterous to me. And
yeah.
now with Rishabh Pant, effectively being axed from the Indian team and only being a second choice wicketkeeper in the Test squad as well. So Again, it is definitely going to have an effect on his morale. Prithvi Shaw has not been considered at all, and that also wouldn't be very good for him. So there are a few factors there as well. And how do you see these two teams? Do you think they still have it in them to get those two wins out of three, and just make sure that they are the ones who are playing the qualifier?
When we were discussing during the half review, uh, it was like, there is a situation outside of a bar when people are like checking for a person's age, if he's really 21 or not. And MI and DC in that regard, they were looking like 40-year-olds. Arey yaar, chale jao, tum log playoff mein chale jao. And the bar being playoffs. Why are you even guys waiting in the line? It's like they were already in. I think at that point it seemed like they were already
They,
in.
I think they had already taken the complimentary shot.
Exactly. I think, and to a to a very, very large extent, you have to believe these are the two teams that are going to finish top two, unless there is a very, very dramatic circumstance that takes place. Not even RCB for that matter. I think I would love to see that team do well, but again, we have other time for that to discuss that team. As
Hmm.
it stands, Mumbai and DC, I think they still don't have much of a concern. Mumbai, yes, with the see the last time we spoke about this, Rohit Sharma, he does this. He has this instincts of whenever there is a big over going on, he brings an attacking bowler. Since he has the options of so many attacking bowlers, I think even that plays into his cards very well. But whenever I think that game against Sunrisers, when in Sharjah, when they were defending 202, especially when
Yeah,
defending a high score, there was a 15-run over going. Next over, he ensures there is Jasprit Bumrah coming in, or there is a Pattinson coming in, and there is a 3-4 run over.
yeah.
And that literally curbs the entire moment. That's what Rohit Sharma does, and not many captains are as brave. Honestly, if there is any other captain I've seen him do that, it's Aaron Finch in the World Cup. Last World Cup, I think it was so attacking. I think he used to complete Mitchell Stark by the end of the 35th, 40th over, and the game used to be done as well. It's no coincidence in that regard. And these are captains who have great attacking instincts. It's great to watch. It's a sad thing if he doesn't appear again. I hope he does. It's just for the sake of IPL's entertainment factor. I think Rohit Sharma must come back. If it doesn't, I think it leaves a huge hole in Mumbai, because Pollard. Again, captaincy is it's quite a very intricate thing to judge in couple of games. You can't say is impressive. You can't say is not impressive in just one or two games. I won't go as far as to say Pollard was impressive, but Rohit Sharma's that those instincts will be missed. So, but yeah, regardless, I must say I'll still put them in the top first quadrant.
All right, Prathamesh, your opinions on Anurag. What about Delhi? Sorry, we've got a complete Delhi from your end as well before we move on to Prathamesh.
Yeah, on Delhi, I think what you said was pretty much it pretty much covered it. It's like they all do it incredibly well, or they don't. It's like there's a saying in Telugu which says "Ativrishti Anavrushti." It's like either plenty or nothing.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
that. There's
yeah,
no middle ground right now for
it's a
Delhi.
drought. It's a
Yeah.
drought or a flood.
Yeah,
Simple as
exactly.
that.
It's sort of like that, and which pretty much explains Hyderabad's weather conditions in recent times. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, but I think the leadership that team has, the management that team has, I think that is going to be their saving force right now. The just the sheer presence of Mohammad Kaif, the presence of Ricky Ponting, the presence. I think Shreyas Iyer. I think we are seriously looking at a person who can really be in contention for captaincy in the future, because I think he's been so marvelous
Yeah.
this season. You say you have the resources and everything, you have Ponting and all. Okay, all of that is playing, but eventually during the 40 overs, it's during the 20 overs, especially when you're fielding, it's the captain that who does everything, and he's done magnificently thus far. I think it's the sheer presence of some very smart brains, from very practical and pragmatic brains. I think that's going to take them through. As it's, I really wouldn't be much worried for Delhi.
All right. Okay. I think a lot of Delhi fans would be happy that you're saying that, because
Yeah,
there are a lot of worries that have been creeping in.
truly.
Prathamesh, we'll start with Delhi, and then you can talk about your beloved Mumbai after that. We've seen some cracks appear in the Delhi lineup. Especially the last match was really disappointing. The way they sort of handed the initiative to Kolkata,
Yeah.
and batted. I felt they batted irresponsibly against Varun
Yeah.
Chakravarti, and even though Varun Chakravarti has had a very
Like they
good
did
run.
against the in the Sunrisers game.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Very
they,
irresponsible batting.
they've had a couple of performances wherein we've seen the old Delhi, creep in. Even when Delhi Daredevils in the erstwhile Delhi franchise were successful, they always had this tendency of absolutely goofing up, whether it was the semi-finals or the qualifiers or eliminators or something like that. Saw that last time as well. Are they in the danger of not learning from their lessons like once again?
I think I think they just want to experience the same lessons again and again the way it looks like. Um, but again, as Anurag said, they have enough brains in that entire setup to get them through. They have, as I think I would really appreciate the whole Indian cricket setup if they were to encourage this fantastic budding captain that we're seeing now in Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah.
And so that would be really good, in terms of the long term future, not just for Indian cricket, but also for Delhi Capitals as a franchise. But yeah, I think they have enough strength in their batting and their bowling. It's been fantastic. Rabada has been like, not he's not a get out of jail card. He's just like, he's get out of any trouble card. You give him the ball whenever you like, he's going to give you a wicket. And I think it's
Yeah.
him and Archer in this season. You just give them the ball, they will get you something out of it.
Rabada can
So,
murder a
and
person in front of thousand
Yeah,
people and get away. My God, man, what a guy.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of Rabada over the last 2 or 3 years. He's taken as many Jasprit Bumrah, but in almost like two-third of the games that he's played compared to Jasprit Bumrah. So it tells you a lot about how good Rabada has actually been as compared to the presumably the best bowler in the country for India. So uh, I think Rabada is one main reason why they would finish top two, because it gives them an option of actually taking a lot of wickets in crunch situations. They have Ashwin, obviously, who is a master in his art. I don't know how that man doesn't make it to the white ball Indian team, but he's a master in what he does. I think fielding is a little liability, but you could excuse him that. And also they have some really good things. They got Shikhar Dhawan in better form now, two consecutive hundreds, and he still looks a little, that he
Yeah.
might have more in store. And I think, with knowing Ricky Ponting and the kind of captain and the kind of coach that he is, he's definitely going to have some harsh words to say after the last game, and you're going to see a better Delhi side when they come out next time. So Delhi look all settled for me. I don't think they're probably not going to let that second spot slip out of their hands. Maybe Punjab might be able to if Delhi play as badly as they played in the last game rather. So, but I don't see that happening realistically, as much as it would be a fairy tale for Punjab, but I don't see that happening realistically as well. But with Delhi, they will have to make sure that they try to finish top two, even if it gets worse for them, because once you slip off that crown, it just doesn't feel the same, and you suddenly feel that confidence slipping away. And I think that is the same thing that I wish to carry forward with Mumbai Indians, because this was, yes, I think the performance against Rajasthan, the bowling performance against Rajasthan rather, was the first time you saw the Mumbai Indians bowling unit look absolutely clueless. You never
Y-
saw that unit look that clueless before in the entire season. And probably for the first time, they were just wondering, they had no answers to whatever Stokes and Samson had to throw in front of them. And again, the same case with Mumbai, that you wouldn't want to finish third now after all this, because they've been on the top for quite a long time. I think one thing that really bodes well for Mumbai in this situation is their net run rate. It's an incredible net run rate that they have, and that is probably going to be the savior for them, even if they were to finish on equal points for a second place finish. The net run rate might just get them through. uh, I'm not going to go out and say Mumbai Indians fans are going to be cribbing about Rohit Sharma in the same way that Liverpool have been cribbing out Virgil van Dijk. I think Mumbai Indians still, I think we are still more sensible people. But yeah, talking about Rohit is going to be a massive miss, because it's not just about his batting. It's not just about, it's just that calmness that he brings on the field. He he's that kind of captain who is vocal when he needs to be, but he's that kind of captain who is supportive and all jolly when he needs to be as well. So he's that perfect blend that you want to have on the pitch as a captain. But with Mumbai again, Mahela Jayawardene and the kind of influence that he has on the squad, every particular player in that squad, it shows on the pitch when they go out, and it showed on Mahila's face yesterday that he wasn't happy. Although the Mumbai Indians did film a real soft Mahela Jayawardene after the match and show that in the team talk. I don't think he's going to be that relaxed after this. I think on the training ground you're going to see a lot of intensity from Mumbai Indians, and next couple of games I expect them to do well, especially against RCB. Mumbai Indians would want to win that game, as considering they didn't win last time out, and I don't think Mumbai is that kind of team who like to let the opposition have a double over them in the season. So definitely against RCB, Mumbai would do a lot better, but definitely want Rohit and the team back again. We saw, the Indian team announcement. It was said clearly that they're going to keep him under observation. Mumbai Indians posted a picture of him batting in the net, so it's quite confusing with Rohit what's happening. And let's just hope that he is he is fit for the sake of the Indian cricket at least, not just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
beyond the IPL. I
Absolutely.
think he's going to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
crucial in Australia,
Without
and
doubt.
we need to make sure that no matter how many yo-yo tests he fails and he still gets through, he still needs to be there.
No, no, no,
And
no. Of course,
yeah,
without doubt, without doubt. There is a lot of confusion over what his injury is as well, because I don't know if I know, because Anurag, if I'm not wrong, initially an ankle problem again for him was, as we mentioned as well, right? And
Uh, It was
what
the
did
ankle. It is the ankle problem is what is being discussed right now among some media people
is
that
it?
I
For
know and
him to
that
be
I can
out
trust. But
for like 3-4 months, it has to be a
it must be
proper
a little more serious. Yeah,
absolute tendon rupture, because
yeah.
unless you're tearing off muscles or tendon there, it has to be a horrible twist or something like that that's
but
happened.
I
Or
then I don't think he would be able to practice or even for that matter walk
yeah,
properly.
he won't be able to. I don't.
Yeah,
So that's the thing, right? Like, we don't know to what extent is the injury, or is it an
and
injury
and
that
Rohit
can be
was
managed right now during the IPL and needs a surgery later or something like that.
yeah, and
That could be the case. So we
Rohit
don't
was
know
walking
yet.
jolly. Rohit was walking jolly around the boundary yesterday. He was sitting right beside the boundary post. He was just chilling, relaxing. Then he was again going up, going down. He was just moving like a maniac because he couldn't bear to actually be out of the field. So I don't know. I don't think it's that serious, but you never know what goes
What is
on.
happening? Yeah.
Yeah, because Mumbai
Yeah.
Indians somehow Mumbai have been really good in the way they've kept the whole rumor mill out. But
See,
they,
I think we'll just put it this way: Mumbai Indians or the Indian cricket team, in their sane mind, they know they cannot let any sort of rubbish politics can put Rohit Sharma aside. It has to be something serious that can put a
yeah.
player of his quality aside. So it
Yeah,
must be
yeah, of
something,
course.
even if it's something that we don't know. It must be something serious. So let's hope
Yeah,
whatever
let's
it
hope.
is, he
Let's
gets
hope
better.
whatever
Yeah.
it. Yeah, get better and he's back playing soon, because there is no doubt about it that Indian cricket is a much richer place before Rohit Sharma, and he is the vital cog for us if we are to do anything in the upcoming three world tournaments in the next three
Yeah.
years. So,
Truly.
moving on. Prathamesh, what about your quadrant? I didn't happen to mention the quadrant.
I still feel Mumbai finished first and Delhi finished second, or at worst case third. But
All right.
yeah,
You did
Uh,
say Punjab would finish in the first
yeah,
quadrant.
I would because that's the way things are going. But with DC, they are right now
भाई मुझे
pretty
एडिट
unpredictable.
इमेज एडिट करना पड़ेगा तू एक टीम से जाना.
No, I think that Punjab have a really good chance of finishing second, provided Delhi keep doing what they're doing right now. But I don't know whether I think it will be more clear for us after the next game what kind of Delhi team actually turns up on that pitch and performs. But I'm
So yeah,
personally,
again in the middle,
yeah,
Anurag, you can take his first prediction as the one. Let him
yeah, yeah,
hang on his own words.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll do that.
No, I
Absolutely.
would I would definitely prefer a fairy tale over just a dumb second Delhi prediction.
Yeah,
Of course,
absolutely.
of course. So just a quick word for you guys. We've carried on for long. We've discussed these two teams, the final two teams, in brief detail, and I think it would merit for us to give them a little more time. So I'll come for RCB to Prathamesh and for SRH to you, Anurag, and then both of you can tell me about what your prospects are. Of course, please feel free to add in anything in case you have any points for the counter team. Uh, with RCB, Prathamesh, they've done well. They've done unexpectedly well. I don't
Yeah,
think they were given that much of a chance, especially by you.
not at all.
Yeah.
I predicted them to win.
Yeah, so it must be surprising for you to see that if they win one more match, they'll have 8 wins already. So that's quite a significant departure from being eighth. As far as their batting is concerned, of course, the usual suspects are there, and they've unearthed the particular as an IPL player. It's been fantastic for them. Aaron Finch still remains a question mark in my opinion, at least.
Honestly, yeah.
Very very susceptible to the incoming delivery. Anurag is almost like as it's been 3 years he's been getting on the same way.
Yeah,
I don't, and he still scores so many runs for Australia. I don't get that. I just don't get that. Like I think, yeah. Anyway, I think Australia jayega Shami. So all I ask Shami is like fourth stump in, fourth stump in, fourth stump in, out. Har bari, matlab, so
Bhuvaneshwar
yeah.
is a real nightmare for that guy.
Oh, Bhuvnesh. So yeah,
Yeah.
for the lack of a better word, he's Bhuvneshwar's pet. I was gonna say something else, but he's Bhuvneshwar's pet.
That's
So yeah,
On a similar level,
perfectly.
yeah.
yeah. So Prathamesh, how do you see? How have you seen RCB and a quick gist on them? And do you think they can retain their place in the top four?
RCB, as much as I hate to say this, yes, I think they will be able to retain their place. But there is still a very bleak outside chance that RCB still might be able to finish outside top four.
This is
Considering
just
if yeah,
you're just doing this for shits and giggles now, basically. You're just doing to take the piss now
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
See,
probably,
again,
probably,
I
yeah,
think it might not be so, but sorry to interrupt. But the three games that they have, two of them are against two very strong teams. Plus,
yeah.
against the other one is against Sunrisers. Again, that's a team that is still fighting for. There is a hypothetical chance that they could lose to these three.
They
If
play
they lose
Mumbai,
these
Delhi,
three, see,
and
their net run
yeah,
rate is like just about on par good. And if
yeah,
they lose, it doesn't get better. So, yeah,
exactly. So they play Mumbai, Delhi, and Hyderabad, if I'm not wrong, which are really
Kushagra
tough
doesn't
games.
agree.
They're
Yes.
really
no,
tough
no,
games, you know.
I'm just stunned at the level of disregard RCB is
No, no, no,
everything
no,
to
no.
you guys.
It's not.
I think
Honestly, I've
I
been
think
Okay,
very happy
because
for them. But yeah,
yeah,
without doubt, I feel they are the lightest among the top four teams right now.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
put Kings 11 above them. In fact, currently I would put Kings 11 above Delhi as well. So I would keep them at par with Mumbai. If Rohit is fit, Mumbai is above. If Rohit is not fit, then
that's a huge question mark for Mumbai
yeah.
as well after they get into the playoffs. But
yeah.
yeah, I
So
think
RCB, coming
With
back to RCB.
RCB coming back to RCB, I know they had a fantastic bowling performance against Kolkata after the last video that we did. I
Yeah,
still feel
Siraj was on fire.
Siraj
Just
on
a
fire.
quick word on him.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
Congratulations to Mohammad Siraj as well. He's been put
exactly.
into
Two
the
main.
He's
Indian
Yeah,
gone
Test
through a lot,
squad.
but yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
and
think he's I think he's one player who
congratulations.
definitely deserves that. He's gone through a lot of hard work over the years, and I think he finally gets the credit that he deserves, and he also gets that record book name. So I think that's really beautiful for the player. With RCB, I think the strongest suit again was going to be Kohli and De Villiers, and Kohli and De Villiers have been taking them over the line along with Particle. That has been a really good addition for them. I still feel somehow, you know, in spite of that brilliant performance with the ball and how well Siraj has been doing, I still feel that on a given day, if RCB are asked to defend 120 runs, they won't be able to. If RCB are asked to defend 140 runs in a crunch game, I still don't think they will be able to. And I think that is where I probably draw a line between RCB really going all the way, and whether RCB could still be in that fight to actually get out of the top four place. So I think that bowling unit is still a little question mark to me, because the commentators have been saying, this is the best bowling unit RCB have, and I still feel there are three or four teams of a better bowling unit. So,
yeah.
on that note, I feel RCB are going to have a little issue. Batting, I don't think it's going to be one, as much as Aaron Finch is someone who has not played well in the tournament, I still feel he's just one innings away from absolutely destroying the opposition. So with the batting, it's never been an issue with RCB over these years, but it's just been the bowling, and I still feel they are a little susceptible in that sense. So yeah, with RCB, as much as the entire world and including me, I want to see Virat Kohli lift the IPL trophy one day. But with this bowling unit, I still find it a little difficult.
Yeah, and one would be hard pressed to disagree with you there. Still feel there are a couple of loopholes. I feel Anurag, I feel RCB are in more of a Delhi Capitals position this year as they were last year. So
Yeah,
I think they can have a strong campaign, but I can clearly see teams better than them. More suited to winning, and more adaptable to the three different stadiums that we've seen and the multiple different pitches we've seen. So any what about you? Do you see them finishing amongst in the top four, and then we'll come on to SRH?
Yeah, I think they should be ideally just about. But all these years we've been talking about the mathematical possibility of RCB just about getting into it, and there've been plenty
So
of
it
trolls.
must be impressive for fans,
Yeah,
that they could.
exactly. And this time we were actually, sort of drawing hypothesis as to how they would not qualify, and
yeah,
that is a that's
that's a
growth for you.
huge positive.
That's
Yeah,
huge growth. And again, one of the reasons why I've not trusted RCB is because again they've not done well on the auction table. It's the players who they've picked, the players that Virat Kohli has trusted this time. Whoever with the resources that he's had, I think he's done a magnificent job. This one goes to Virat Kohli, not the
yeah,
auction table. Again, if anyone
Yeah,
tells me they did a good thing in the auction table, I think I'd still laugh at them.
no way.
I'd still laugh at them.
I think
I think
the auction table is one of the major reasons we all had a banter on
very big
RCB.
problem. Yeah, again,
Yeah,
this they overspent on some players they should not have. But I think in hindsight, it really looks like a good deal that they spent so much money for Chris Morris, who's been.
yeah,
I think he's really turned that bowling attack into. From a mediocre to a near champion level bowling attack. Near, I still would not go as far as to say champion level, but again, that if you look at RCB's previous game, the one after the KKR one, whom did they play against?
they played Chennai. Yeah,
Chennai, yeah, and
Chennai,
they did
they
get hammered.
lost.
Sort of, they did get hammered. So that they're susceptible, and there's still not 100% confidence that they'll go on to win the title. If they do, that'll be quite a story. I hope all
yeah,
the documentarians, whoever are there in the camp, they're doing a good job right now, because this could make up for a fantastic cricket documentary, perhaps one of the best
Yeah,
that we could ever see.
yeah,
So I hope people are keeping track of that.
with
But
Virat Kohli having 80% of the screen time.
yeah,
yeah,
like Justin Langer did in that the
Yeah,
test. Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's pretty much it could be the case. But I hope that is the case. But as it stands, I think they will finish in the. I'll put them in the third quadrant, and I mean the second quadrant, third or fourth on the table. But I really don't see them finishing going all the way. I really would be
Anurag's going when
surprised
he
if they
said
go
third quadrant.
third or fourth on the table, third or fourth on the table, second quadrant. That's
second
what I meant.
quadrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And coming to
Yeah,
sunrises.
so just to finalize, is the second quadrant for both of you, right, Prathamesh?
Yep,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
has to
All
be.
right.
Yep.
on
So
the
I
edge.
guess it's unanimous on the board. It's a second quadrant thing for me as well. I fully expect them to qualify for the third final four, and then we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, coming to SRH, Anurag, it's an undependable batting performance from the Sunrisers batsmen. It
truly.
was uh, honestly, I mean, it was just ridiculous how you can restrict a team for 126, 127. 27
And
was the
still go on
one.
to lose.
Yeah, 127 was the target on a pitch which was batting friendly, which wasn't as slow or as dead or as morose as some of the pitches we might have seen,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it wasn't as if they had been restricted by some sudden injury during the match wherein they
Yeah,
lost important
just
batsmen.
just to cut
It
you short.
wasn't even
Yeah,
it wasn't even that they'd had a bad start. They lost their
yeah.
first wicket at 35.
And they had
What
their
Just,
happened?
35 runs in 3 overs or
just
4
to
overs,
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
just to put them in like smaller words, what you said, Kushagra, it wasn't a 17 for 7 wicket.
It can,
Definitely,
yeah.
it
I mean,
definitely wasn't. Yeah.
what was happening, Anurag? I mean, what was that?
I'll tell you, right after the
And the,
first innings, so
I'm
I was not at home during the
yeah.
match, so I was relying on my mobile data, which exhausted right after the first innings. So I did not watch the entire of the second inning. So I cannot, of the highlights that I've seen, I think again it's all very very irresponsible, very poor batting, and I'll very surely blame this on the middle order. I think the same partnership that got Sunrisers over the line against Rajasthan Royals were a little culpable for this one. Vijay Shankar and Manish Pandey.
Manish and Vijay,
I
yeah.
I, I think they looked. I've not seen a pair of top order batsmen look so clueless in this entire IPL. And for them, and if you play 29 balls and you're batting at a strike rate of 50,
That Manish Pandey
suicidal is an
thing.
understatement in that sense, bro. Especially in T20 suicidal is such an understatement. You are going to lose the game. I think as I was following this course, I knew, okay, this is really really getting out of hand. And 17 into us, I think I was very much sure Punjab are going to get this. And Jordan went on to bowl that magnificent
Oh,
penultimate over.
fantastic.
I think that was
Has to go.
stalemate. I think that was done. That was done after that 19th over. And I think, yeah, irresponsible batting, clueless batting, at a time where they should have just gone for singles. Or I was expecting Priyam Garg to bat a little higher up the order. I think the guy deserves that because he's more of a sensible batsman who can, like, you know who he is one person, in the half century that he scored against Delhi. If you look at his stroke, it's all beautifully guided in the gaps. He's looking for the gaps. He's least bothered about how long the boundary is. He's concerned where the gaps are. He's that sort of a player, and I really love that kind of players. I think that was the sort of a batsman you needed yesterday, which they yesterday was it yesterday, day before, but no, that did not come out really well. So again, I, I think, as I've said last time, I think there are players which you can consider X factor. There are RCB doesn't really have the players you can call them X factor, like besides AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. They do not have players whom you can call X factor, and with those two names, they've done well. And you look at Sunrisers, there are three or four people whom you can call X factor, and three or four people who are genuine match winners in T20 cricket, and uh, they're like in the position they are right now. So I don't expect them to go all the way, but the last three games there is a mathematical possibility which is undeniable. But again, for that to happen, there are plenty of other results that have to go in your way. This is the worst position a team can put themselves in. It's not just you playing well off after a game, you're also
Yeah,
concerned
then you're
whether the
dependent
team.
on others.
Yeah, it's very horrible, but eventually it's down to the last day. The last day Mumbai Indians play Sunrisers. If Sunrisers win their next two games, starting against Delhi Capitals, I think we've picked the two choices quite cleverly here, unintentionally, but RCB and SRH to play the same teams, by the way, in the remaining games. So
Interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
so again, Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians. These are the two roadblocks that are two huge roadblocks.
As Punjab have shown,
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. You never know, because if there is a team that has David Warner, Johnny Best, you still can give them a chance. I would give them a chance, but I think
I
it's
think,
it's
I think, I
it's too
think,
late to catch up on something.
yeah, I think more than
Again,
qualifying, SRH can give heart attacks.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They very much can.
They can
And
do that, and
the one thing that I'm slightly okay with is Kings 11 Punjab's final game. After Kings 11 Punjab's final game, there are two other games. Sunrisers Hyderabad is pretty much the last game of the entire group stage. So it's like there is no waiting for. I think for a Sunrisers fan to really be worried about. I think you will know before the start of the game in what position you are. I think that is in one way that is sort of an advantage. That is
yeah,
one area where
Yeah.
KKR or Punjab, they wouldn't be as confident, because
Yeah.
even if you're going putting your 100%, there is someone else who could spoil your party. That really matters towards the end. I think a lot of people would not talk about
yeah,
it, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
does
The
matter.
psychological pressure. I'm
Yeah,
sure
that
it
would
makes
still
Yeah.
sense.
matter. So in that sense, SRH have the edge, and another edge that Sunrisers have is the net run rate. I think that those 2-3 big wins that they had, I think it eventually still puts them in a positive net run rate position. So again, if you win the three games, I think there is a good chance they can. But I don't see them doing that. But I still see them finishing above Rajasthan Royals, surely on the net run rate basis, because I think if it comes to a stage where it's same points, I think Rajasthan definitely are going to have a lower run rate. So it's been a disappointing season as a fan, but I see them finishing the third quarter, and that's what I say.
All right. I guess it's the same as far as the quadrant is concerned for you, Prathamesh.
Yeah. With Sunrisers, I personally feel disappointed watching Sunrisers this season because I was really looking forward to Warner and Bairstow and Rashid Khan and you know
Nabi.
Bhuvneshwar, unfortunately. Yeah, Nabi. I don't know what's wrong with that guy
Mm.
right now. What is wrong with that entire, that jigsaw puzzle, whatever was happening there.
Nabi is the only bowler who's
Yeah.
bowled more than 20 balls and went boundaryless in this entire IPL.
Yeah, so that tells a lot, what kind of player he is.
Yeah,
But yeah, if there is any team, as Anurag said, who could actually pull it off, this late right now, considering what they have in store amongst these bottom teams, is probably Sunrisers. But then again, you look at that 17 for 7 and you wonder whether it's really that easy to really think of. So with Sunrisers, I still feel they they don't have that. They have that X factor on paper. It's just that X factor is not clicking, on the pitch right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I don't really see that clicking towards the end of the tournament
very
either.
much. Yeah,
And that with them playing the likes of Mumbai, Delhi, it makes even stronger case for probably SRS to not unfortunately go through this time. And I still
fair
see
enough.
them
Yeah,
finishing seventh because of because of the intensity of games that they really have
yeah.
coming up. As much as it would be good to see them finishing slightly higher.
And the other opponent is RCB, by the way. Yeah, so
Yeah,
even so, we are basically playing the top three.
yeah, you're basically playing in the top three, so that's really tough. That's really
Yeah,
tough, and it's not that the top three is settled either. They want to win, so
Yeah. So I
that
think that plays a bigger factor here. I think
yeah,
all three of them need to win.
exactly. So I think that's going to be really difficult for them. I think yeah, that's pretty much sums up Sunrisers for me, and
Yeah.
yeah,
All
that's
right.
all.
All right, all right, all right. So I guess we have all the teams placed in their respective quadrants.
Yeah,
If you ask me, I would put Sunrisers in the third quadrant as well. I think they'll probably end up finishing sixth, behind KKR. I think they will surprise one of the three teams remaining. I don't think they lose all three. They
no, they
might
won't. I don't think.
yeah, they might surprise one, and they might run the other close, something like that. As far as the RCB factor is concerned, just for all the RCB fans, I know you guys may not have a lot of love for this particular channel as well, but just an interesting tidbit for our fans. Virat Kohli has done well, in cricket when he's had an influential player behind the stumps. Did very well for India while Dhoni was keeping. Got ABD keeping now, and whatever you might say, it may be a good luck charm for him. I'm not trying to attribute anything now to KBD. Also KBD, wow, ABD. Is it got it all Kevin De Bruyne and AB de Villiers mixed up?
AB de Villiers
Mixed
mixed
sort
up,
up.
of in the
yeah,
same
yeah.
bracket in terms of the
Yeah,
magic they
yeah, yeah.
create. Yeah,
Just
Yeah, yeah.
absolute crazy madmen. I would put them in the same bracket. So there maybe the gods are smiling on Virat there. As far as the captaincy is concerned, I would have to agree with both of you guys. I think all this preposterous bullshit that keeps coming out, about Virat not being such a very good captain, everything else. I think he's
he's
shown
done
it.
well this time. Yeah,
He's
He's shown it in
done
this
really
IPL.
well this time. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, his selection has been fantastic. His
And
team
I think
understand,
he's
and the way
made
he's
really
led
brave
this,
decisions. He's made
and
really
the
brave decisions in crunch situations.
what
No,
is what
I
has
don't
really
think I
impressed
don't think
me.
anyone else would have trusted Siraj with those many games, and he's
Yes,
delivered.
yes,
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
and what is really stood out for me. I don't think for a single ball in this tournament Virat Kohli has been in form. Apart from that one innings he played,
yeah,
I don't think he's been in form in any of the other innings. I think
yeah.
he's always struggled and scratched through and gotten runs. That for me shows fortitude. I think that will hold him in good stead going to Australia as well. So yeah, guys, and in Australia he's got Lokesh Rahul as the wicketkeeper. So
Yeah.
it's a factor of three, boys. It's a factor of three.
Yep.
So yeah, once again, thank you so much, boys, for joining me here. And we're looking forward to an incredible end to the season in the IPL here. And as
A-
we
And
pass the third quarter mark,
it looks
it's
almost
safe to say,
yeah, it looks
yeah.
almost certain that at the end of the tournament when we do our tournament review video, either one of the two of us might have an IPL trophy in the background to look at. So
Haha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Let's hope so. Long way to go there. So
I will very proudly put the RCB flag beside behind me. I'd be more than happy if RCB goes all the way. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. Why
win-win
not? Why
situation
not?
for everyone.
At this point, at this point, mathematically, there can be six different winners of the IPL. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, so so
that's the
so
IPL
this
for you.
yeah, it's incredible stage that we are at. So once again, thank you so much, lads, for joining me here, and thank you so much to all of our viewers for watching this video. The IPL carry on. It's been a very interesting tournament, and it's coming towards the later stages of the tournament. But the excitement is just building, guys. Keep it tuned to the Sports Giant. Keep watching and supporting your favorite teams. Once again, thank you, Anurag, and thank you, Prathamesh, for sticking it with me, sticking it out. And well, it's the IPL. What else do you need me to say? Keep watching.